Hi everyone, I'm Jason Fararui with Yellow Cape Communications. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple technique to create a two-camera setup on one tripod to record your public speaking engagements or you speaking at a conference. Now, first I want to preface this by saying you do not have to be a TV professional to utilize this technique, nor do you have to own the equipment that I'm going to show you or talk about today, or does that mean that you have to go out and buy it? What it does mean is that you'll need a relationship or a partnership with a communications company or an independent filmmaker, folks that do have access to this equipment that can watch this video or read the equipment list on the blog and say, hey, yeah, I see what Jason is saying. I can build this for you and get you set up so that you can record your speaking engagement. I speak at conferences not frequently, but regularly on an annual basis. So sometimes I speak at international conferences, sometimes they're national conferences, or even regional conferences. But no matter what conferences I'm speaking at, I always record them on video. And the reason I do this are for a couple of reasons. Sometimes when I apply to conferences, they require proof of speakership. And so having my conferences shot and produced for video makes me a great candidate to be able to just say, hey, look, you can take a look at this link and you can see me speaking at X conference, and you can kind of get a feel for what I'm like and what I talk about. The other great thing is, and what I use most of my videos for when I do record conferences, is to support my blog or to use for social media and marketing purposes. And so usually what I'll do is I'll record an entire conference, and then I'll come back and I'll edit it into shorter segments, like 2 or 4 minute pieces that I can then write a blog around. So that's typically how I use my media. But last year when I spoke at a conference in San Diego, I wasn't so sure that I wanted to produce that actual conference with 3 cameras and multiple production personnel and make that big investment. I just wasn't too sure about it. So what I decided to do instead is to build myself a small 2-camera package on one tripod that I could simply drop into place, turn on, hit record, walk away from, and know that I was recording my public speaking event, or to know that I was recording my conference, and not invest a whole bunch of money in producing something that I wasn't too sure about. It worked. At the end, I took a look at the actual footage and it worked. It wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the exact same as having 3 different cameras with camera operators behind them tracking with me, but it was a functional way to actually record my conference. And so I want to share this technique with you. So the first thing that I'm going to point out is the actual tripod. So we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. In this particular case, I used an Alta Pro tripod, just a tripod that was small enough and light enough, but still sturdy enough to support 2 cameras. And typically what you're going to need is a tripod that's going to support a payload of about 8 to 11 pounds. Working my way up, the next piece of equipment is a broadcast quality camera. And in this particular case, it's an older model HPX 170, a Panasonic camera. And this is a professional grade camera. And so when we say professional grade, what we mean is that you can plug a pro grade microphone into this camera and you can record up to 2 channels, or in this particular case with this camera, 4 channels, but I only use 2 channels of audio. The other important thing to note about using the HPX, the 170, is this particular camera will record one continuous clip essentially. So you can hit record, and for 30 minutes, an hour, 75 minutes, however long you've got on your battery or how much recording space you have on your solid state hard drives, the camera will continuously record without you having to stop and create a new clip. This is very, very important if you don't have anyone there to man the cameras for you. The next piece of equipment is the Purestone Israeli arm. And this little arm articulates in a couple of different ways to create all kinds of different angles and be able to get into a couple of different unique positions. And as you can see, what I did here is I screwed one end of the Israeli arm into the handle of the HPX. And then on the other side of the Israeli arm, I attached my camera, my second camera. and then I could articulate that camera to get it in just the position that I wanted, so that I'd have a functional second camera mounted on top of an established camera on the base. So what I attached to the other end of this Israeli arm is the Canon, the EOS M. And in this case, it's just a simple, small, mirrorless HDSLR camera. And then I attached a long lens onto this. And in this particular case, something that could get out past 100 millimeters in length, okay? And so it doesn't matter, you don't have to have the Canon EOS M, you don't have to have an HDSLR camera, you just need a second camera that's light enough that you can mount it on that Israeli arm, and on top of that, that Panasonic or whatever your base camera is, and that will record for a long period of time or an extended period of time. The key difference here is that with the camera on the bottom, the way that I had that camera set up was essentially as a wide shot. And so what I thought to myself is, I'm going to keep a wide shot that's wide enough that I know as I'm moving around on stage, I can move from this side of the stage to this side of the stage and still be in frame. Now, what I did with the second camera is I used a little bit of a longer lens. In this particular case, a lens that got up to about 135 millimeters. And I zoomed that lens in so that I'd have a little bit of a tighter shot, right? And so with that tighter shot, they're two distinct enough shots, while not as distinct as we might like them in terms of differences the way they look, but distinct enough that that gives us something to cut between in the actual edit, okay? So that's sort of the camera setup. Now, the next piece of equipment that we're going to work with is the wireless microphone package. And in this particular case, the wireless microphone package that I used was a Sennheiser system. Now, for your purposes, it doesn't matter really what flavor or brand that you use, just that you use a wireless package that is professional grade enough to capture your audio in a decent way in the environment that you're working with. I will say that audio is the one sort of Achilles heel in this entire package. Because you don't have anyone, let's say you don't have anyone that can actually man your equipment or kind of staff your equipment and make sure that all the settings are right and to make sure that your audio is good, you are kind of vulnerable in this particular setup here with your audio. But what I did in my particular case is I recorded one channel of audio a little bit lower and one channel of audio about what I thought would be right for my volume level. And it did work out for me. I also did not experience any interference, though interference could be a particular problem for you if you don't know how to set up your wireless transmitter pack and receiver pack. The microphone package is sort of the Achilles heel in this entire setup. But ultimately, the footage that I captured and the conference that I shot with this one little package, it worked. I set up my camera, kind of got an idea of where I could walk on stage and where I couldn't walk to be in the shot. I hit record on the two cameras, walked up there, delivered my speech, came back, and I actually recorded with two cameras my entire conference. Again, this is not a package that is ideal to work with, and there are some Achilles heels that you have to sort of be able to know about and work with. But overall, this package can be a great way to record your public speaking events or your conferences without investing a whole bunch of money. So hopefully this little tutorial on a 2-camera setup on one tripod for your conference recording needs, hopefully this covers you. But if it doesn't, feel free to leave comments or questions in the comments section below this blog, and I'll answer them as in-depth as I possibly can. Once again, I'm Jason Farrui with Yellow Cape Communications. Thanks for watching.